Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to break down the Sunday night showdown slate between Philadelphia and Atlanta. Real quick, before I get into it, one quick thing about these showdown slates. I would not recommend investing a lot of money. There's a lot of variance, a lot of luck, so definitely bet a lot of your money in the regular slates, but the showdown slates don't go crazy. So with that out of the way, let's just jump right into it, and let's talk about some snap counts first, real quick. So if we go to Atlanta first, a couple of interesting things to note. Ito Smith and Devontae Freeman both played on 50% of the snaps. Now, Atlanta did get off to a big an early deficit, so maybe if the game was closer, they would have given Devontae Freeman a little more work, but it definitely makes Freeman a very risky play on the showdown slate. Ito Smith, definitely the cheaper option. If we look at the prices here, we got Devontae Freeman at 7K, and then Ito Smith is at 2.4. So definitely would prefer Ito Smith there for the salary relief. If we go on to receivers, a little interesting that Julio only played a 68%, but I'm not too worried about that. Ridley 78%, Mohamed Sanu 85%, Hardy played in 28%, Gage played in 17%. So they did use a couple other receivers. If you look at Hardy's price is 1.4, Gage's price is 200, and he's questionable. Hardy's in play, but I wouldn't feel great about targeting him. And then tight ends, Austin Hooper had a big week one, played in 79% of the snaps, so he's perfectly fine. And then if we go over to Philadelphia real quick, so we knew it was going to be a running back by committee going into the season, and they stuck true to their word. Miles Sanders did get the most amount of work there, close to 50%, and then it was Sproles at 31%, and Jordan Howard at 23%. So it definitely is Miles Sanders is probably going to be the lead back for the early down work, and then Sproles the PPR back, and they're going to sprinkle in some Jordan Howard. So that's kind of what the running back situation is looking like, at least for week one. And then the wide receivers, it was Aguilar and Alshon playing 80%, Deshaun Jackson playing at 69%. Obviously, Deshaun had a huge week one. And Matt Collins and Whiteside played a little bit there as a number 4 receiver, but I don't think that's enough to make those guys in play. Ertz played down 83%, and Dallas Goedert played in 55%. So let me go to Dallas Goedert's price real quick. This was just way too cheaper price, $800 for a guy that's going to be on over 50% of the snaps, and he's a big target. The Eagles like going to the tight ends in the red zone, whether it be Ertz or Goddard. 800, that just opens up so much for your lineup. So Dallas Goedert right now for me is my favorite value play for sure, because he just opens up so much. If we talk about the over-under too real quick, over-under set at 52.5. So I definitely want to try to get at least one quarterback, possibly two. Again, Goddard can open up a lot for me, so maybe get 2 quarterbacks in. But yeah, let's just talk about the rest of the players here. So Julio's at the top at 11.4. Had a little down week one, but this is a nice bounce back spot at home in the dome. Matt Ryan always plays a little bit better in the dome. It's a really high over-under. I think Julio probably has the most upside out of anyone on the slate. So I do like Julio there at 11.4, and I like him as putting in your captain spot again. I think he has the most upside, definitely. Wentz, Matt Ryan, both these guys are fine. Again, if there's enough value plays, I think you could possibly squeeze both in. A really high over-under too. Should be a lot of scoring. So Wentz, Ryan, no issue with either of these guys. Then if we go below that, we got Zach Ertz at 9.2. Had a decent week one. 5 catches for 54 yards. Now he gets a really good matchup against Atlanta, so I do like Zach Ertz's price there. Deshaun Jackson, I think I'm going to pass just because I think he's going to be a little bit higher owned after that good week one. And again, he's only on the field for like 69% of the snaps? 69%. Now he does have the big playability, so he's a guy that you can consider for captain spot because he can break a long touchdown catch basically any single play. So he's in play for that aspect, but me personally, I'm probably going to fade Deshaun Jackson because I think the ownership's going to be up on him a bit. Alshon at 8.8, I just think is okay. These top Philly guys, if I had to pick one between Ertz, Jackson, and Alshon, I'm just going to lean towards Zach Ertz. If we get below that, Ridley at 7.2, I think is okay. What was his snap percentage again? He was at 78%, so you're going to play most of the game. I think he's priced about right at 7.2K. I wouldn't say he's like a great play, but definitely not a bad play either. And then Devontae Freeman, I think he's going to go really low owned. So if you are a guy that takes ownership into consideration and are making multiple lineups, throw him in a few just because I think he's going to be really low owned. I'm only making one lineup. I can't go there. It just did not look good. Only played at 50% of the snaps. Again, if the game was closer, he probably would have got a little more work, but it's just too hard for me to consider Devontae Freeman right now at 7K. Then Sanu at 5.2. I think he's perfectly fine here. Played on like 80% of the snaps. Not a guy that has huge upside, but at 5.2K, that's a pretty cheap price. So I don't mind Sanu there. And then we're going to get to the Philly running back. So again, Sanders, they got the most work at close to 50%. It didn't look great though. I mean, only 11 carries for 25 yards. He did have a couple catches too. I think he, again, is going to lead the Philly backfield. So he's probably the safest of the three, I guess. Hooper, again, he had a big week 1. Definitely in play here at 4.6K. 9 catches for 77 yards. Wouldn't expect that again, but again, 4.6K, I think that's perfectly fine. Howard would probably be my least favorite. He's going to be the lowest owned, though. Again, only played on, 23% of the snaps. People thought he was going to be the early down back, but it's looking like they want to give Miles Sanders more work. So, again, if I was picking between the two, I would lean towards Miles Sanders. And then Sproles here is at 3.6. I do like his upside. So, again, I think Miles Sanders is probably the safest of the three, but Darren Sproles has the most upside. He was out there for, 31% of snaps. Again, if Philly gets down early, they'll probably use him more. He's always going to be the third down back, a good PPR back. So I think Darren Sproles, a little riskier, but has more upside, has the most upside out of the three backs for sure. The two kickers, don't forget about the kickers. And this is supposed to be a pretty high over-under game. So for tournaments, I think you could run one in your lineup. I wouldn't play at both, but definitely would consider one there. The defenses with the Falcons and the Eagles, 4K and 3.8K. Don't feel great about targeting either defense. I would like it if they were cheaper. Again, a pretty high over-under game. Atlanta's at home too. If Philly was at home, then I'll consider the Philly defense, but not too high on either defense. Then Aguilar, I do like this price a decent amount here, 2.8. Again, if you look at the snap counts, he played in 80% of the snaps. Now, didn't have a great week 1, but the volume was there for him. Again, a really juicy matchup. So I do like Nelson Aguilar, 2.8K as a value play. Ito Smith, again, him and Freeman split the work. He only got 6 carries, but if this continues, obviously Ito Smith is a much better value there at 2.4 compared to 7K for Devontae Freeman. Hardy only put in 28% of snaps. Did have 4 catches, though. I guess he's a value guy you could consider for making multiple lineups. Again, I'm only making one lineup, so I don't think I could risk it with him. And then Goddard, again, he's definitely my favorite value play. Was out there for over 50% of the snaps. Philly likes going to their tight ends in the red zone. Did only have a couple catches, but really like the price here. Really like the matchup. So, yeah, 800. That just opens up so much for you. And then below that, I really wouldn't consider anyone else. So, for me, for captains, at least for right now, it's Julio for me. Probably maybe Ertz. And then Dallas Goedert, too. Just because if you throw Dallas Goedert in here in the captain spot, then that opens up. You got like 10K remaining. You can get both quarterbacks. You can get Julio. You could basically almost get whoever you want. So just take that into consideration. If you put Julio in the captain spot, it's going to definitely make it a little trickier to get both quarterbacks or a couple of these top tight ends receivers. So that's basically it, guys. So if you haven't been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate if you would like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. It's also important to follow me on Twitter. I will put that in the description below. And I'll be back for another video breaking down the Monday Night Showdown slate. So I will see you guys then.